Welcome to the B. Andrews Radio Show. You're listening to B. Andrews coming to you from central Wisconsin, and summer has arrived. We've been kind of waiting for it here. If you know anything about Wisconsin, we have, kind of short summers. I remember it came in last year. I think it was on a Tuesday. Stuck around for maybe 3 or 4 days and was gone. That's kind of a joke around here. But summer is here. We're having a nice 80-degree, 70-some% humidity kind of day. And for folks in Wisconsin, they'll tell you that that's just like dying. Because normally when you have anywhere from 50 to 60% humidity, we kind of keep it down, and you're 80 degrees outside is like comfortable at that level. But once it starts heading up towards that 75, 80% humidity, just starts feeling nasty. You can stand in the shade and you're kind of sweating already, and you haven't done anything. And am I complaining?
Maybe.
Oh, just a little bit? Oh, okay. Let me back off from that and not complain, because
it's not as bad as it was in Iowa.
And where? Oh, where were we?
I got to take these off. There's an awful echo in the headphones, and I couldn't finish speaking. It's not. Quit laughing at me. I couldn't speak. I was saying it, and then my words were coming out like
yes,
like a half a second late
in your head. Yes, and you'd finish speaking before you'd finish speaking.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's not as bad as it was in Iowa.
That is correct. This is our second year in a row that we've been down in Iowa. We have just come back from that. In fact, some of you may have noticed that last week we actually missed doing a program, doing a show, I guess I should say.
Most of you probably didn't notice, but
yeah, it did happen. We ran into a bit of a problem. By the way, welcome to the B. Andrews Radio Show. I am your co-host, Eric Hambrock from the B. Andrews Band, and on the other side of the room is our other co-host, John. Say hi, John.
I am your faux host, John.
Faux host?
Just go.
Okay, I'll run with that. Anyway, and we were down in Iowa near a little town called Floyd. It was a great time. We were there for family camp. John actually worked the youth camp track that was going along with that. So families come in with their kids, their teens. It's a great time. So the adults have a track that's going on during the daytime. Young adults had a track that was going on during the daytime. Youth had a track, and then kids had a track. And then in the afternoon, they planned all different kinds of family things that you could do together. Then in the evening, we came together for worship, and we led and did the music for the worship time. So that's kind of the way that it went last week. Actually, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a good time. It was a great time. It was hot. We started at 88 degrees the day we got there, and it did climb to 94. And was running about somewhere between 85 and 95% humid, except for Wednesday and Thursday, which it was 100% humidity outside because you could see the water
coming down. One of those days was the day of the tornado warning, right?
Yes, we had a tornado warning while we were at camp. It would not be camp if you didn't have one of those days.
Well, I don't know. They took us down. We had to go down to the basement. They're like, okay, the fire department called. We got to go to the basement. And then they started talking about how common it was. And then I was like, why am I here again? You guys have, this is you could set a watch to how many times this happens. Like, this happens this frequent. Maybe I shouldn't be here. I don't know.
The fire department didn't call. They drove on grounds.
Oh, did they?
Yes, I saw the truck.
Awesome.
They drove on grounds and had their megaphone out and was talking through the speakers off of the truck.
I missed that?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I felt like I was in one of those disaster movies, though, because we were up at the main meeting place, the chapel, the worship center is what they call it. The worship center is like up on this hill, and then the dining facility is further down the hill. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, the storm's getting bad. They're telling us we have to shelter in place, but we couldn't get a hold of, because the cell phone reception was so bad, we couldn't get a hold of, Mom and the girls. And so I'm just like,
down the hill.
Which we're down the hill,
yeah,
where there's no reception either. And I'm just like, okay, so I'll make sure they're in the dining hall and they're where they're supposed to be. So I get in the car and everything, and it's raining. I'm trying to wipe the windshield with my hand because it's fogging up so bad. And I'm like, oh, and then I get down there, and that's when they called the tornado warning, and they're like, everybody to the basement. And I'm like, uh-oh. I've been separated from the rest. This is when something bad happens.
Yeah, that's when the that's when the raptors come out.
That's what it kind of felt like. We're gonna have or a Sharknado. The tornado's gonna come.
Actually, there was enough water to at least do piranhas. I'll give him that.
Piranha-nado. Paranado.
Oh yeah.
With an H.
So yes, we missed a show last week because we've had one of those band traveling adventures this past week.
Oh yeah, none of that's even counted in that, is it?
Yeah. That all happened in camp. And so camp ended Sunday. The district superintendent, or for some of you in your denominations, that would be equivalent to a bishop, over Iowa, Minnesota. He come in and did the speaking for the very last service. Actually, he was there all week long, assisting in the morning times with what he did, which was super cool. That was an awesome thing, Reverend Tim Purcell. And anyway, so we get into Sunday, and he is the speaker. He carries out the last service. You have lunch. We already knew that they were going to want us off the grounds by 1 o'clock. And so they had lunch at 12. We had already started that morning. We had packed, had all of our stuff sitting outside of the cabin where they had put us and where we were. And by the way, we had the wonderful opportunity of having my nieces with us. You've heard me talk about them in a couple of other shows. Kim and Amberly were with us and had got to go to camp with us. All that's really, really cool. And so everything, all the girls are loaded up. They put us all, they did us like a family and put us all in one cabin, but it was really nice because we had our own private shower facility and bathroom facility and all that other kind of stuff. And so everything's loaded up, sitting outside of the cabin, and we take the Suburban, we get it all loaded up, we put the trailer on it, we run up the hill, and we go and get the sound system. We packed up our sound system, had it loaded up in just a few minutes, went back down the hill, got all the girls' stuff, put it in the back of the trailer. We went to go climb that big hill to get out. We're on our way home, and all of a sudden the Suburban just started sputtering something bad, something fierce, and couldn't manufacture a whole lot of power. I let the thing reset for just a minute, shut it off, let it reset, got power.
It died on that hill.
Yeah, it died on the hill.
And
we rolled back down the hill, let it set for a second, hit it. It pulled it. We got up out of the hill, went on up the hill. But as we kept using more power, kept blowing a lot more white smoke out of the back. And I was very much right. White smoke does mean water in your diesel fuel. I thought we had gotten water in the tank, and we had been seeing a little bit of white going along, but we used so much power and put so much pressure on the heads of the engine pulling that hill coming up out of there that what I did was I blew the head gaskets in the engine.
Oh, but we didn't find that out at that time.
Right. I didn't know it at that time. We thought it was other things, so we tried to limp out of Floyd, Iowa, and we went up the road, could not get over 20 miles an hour. And so after about an hour of fighting with it, we only went about 10 miles, but it took us an hour to do it. We turned around, came back into the camp, and the camp folks said, "Oh yeah, sure, stay. That's cool. We'll help you get out of here the next day."
They were pretty awesome people.
Yes, they are.
We're going to hear from them in the next segment.
That's exactly right. We did an interview with Mark and Teresa Jenkins, and they're going to be with us for an interview. We pre-recorded it, but we're going to play that for you because we want you folks to get to hear a little bit about now, Mark and Teresa.
Who are Mark and Teresa Jenkins?
Mark and Teresa Jenkins are, let me say that correctly, Mark and Teresa Jenkins are the camp directors of Cedar Springs Camp, which is a camp under the direction of the Iowa-Minnesota District of the Wesleyan Church, but the camp does kind of function as its own entity. So as camp directors, they are able to go out and solicit other people who may want to rent a camp or use their camp for other things like some soccer teams can come in. I think they have a football team that actually comes in and uses their camp. Some schools use it for different things. I think they do a science day where they collect leaves on the grounds and that kind of stuff. But they're the camp directors, and as camp directors, they're responsible for a bunch of things. Number one, they pick up temporary summer help in order to do a lot of the work. I think there's 113 acres there that runs along the Cedar. Red Cedar River? No, Cedar. What river is that down there? It's the Cedar Rapids River, I think, is what it's called, or Red Cedar. No, now I got to go. I got to go find that out.
It's Cedar something.
It's Cedar something River. We'll find that out for you in the break. And anyway, so that runs right beside the campgrounds, and that's that lower area that we talk about too, because the rest of the camp is up on the hill, but then it drops down into this river valley, and so it's the whatever that river's name is, and we'll get that here for you in just a minute. But anyway, they're the camp directors, so they're responsible for the maintenance. They're responsible to bring in new people. They are responsible to pay staff and make sure everything goes really well. So our vehicle broke down there. I called, got a ride to go back home. While our ride was coming, they had 136 kids come in from Nebraska to do a camp. And the way that they normally run the camp, it didn't require as much staff. So they had it's the last camp of the year, so to save money, they had let some of their staff go. Okay, we're done with you, it's temporary, we're done with you for the summer. Well, the camp came in, and the people doing the youth camp from Nebraska said, we would like for you to do things a little bit differently. And they're like, we're undermanned to do that. So right as my ride was about an hour away, had already left, couldn't turn around and go home, they're knocking at the door, and they're asking Miriam, Kay, Amberly, and Kim, could you guys please stay and help us with camp? And in the meantime, one of the guys that was at camp on Sunday night, after we found out our vehicle wouldn't work, ended up running John halfway across Iowa, just over the Wisconsin border, where John and a guy from another camp that John was supposed to be at, that he works at a kids camp, met him at the border, picked John up, and took him on to kids camp. So John had 2 weeks of high-octane camp counselor thing going on, because 1 week was with the teens. The second week, what was the age group you were working with last week?
My campers were 8 years old.
And 8-year-old campers, Monday through Friday, require a lot of energy. Right, John?
Yes.
So we're really hitting the coffee hard today. So we've just come through all that. But as you know, if you've been listening to our show, we divide our show up into 3 segments, 2 15-minute segments and 10-minute segment at the end. And so coming up here in our next segment, we had an interview with Mark and Teresa, the camp directors at Cedar Springs Camp, and the reason why it's Cedar Springs is there is a spring at the camp, and I want to tell you what, it comes out of the ground at 50 degrees. I know, we went over to go check it out. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get a refill on this coffee that we so desperately need, and we're going to take a little bit of a break. But when we come back, we want to share with you our interview with Mark and Teresa Jenkins, camp directors at Cedar Springs Camp and Retreat Center. So go get your refill and come on back. You're going to want to hear this interview.
You're listening to the B. Andrews Radio Show.
Because he's a real good friend. He wants to start a fight when things aren't right in this world that we're living in. So it says to him, Joe, I know that you know that fighting never pays. So instead of a fight when things aren't right, why don't you start with a quarter parade? Na, 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 na. Sing the quarter praise. Na, truth that folks don't understand. Everything that happens in our lives comes from God's own hand. Everybody has a choice that they can make every day. You can choose to ignore what comes from God or sing the word of praise. It occurred to me how things might be when this world. Welcome back to the B. Andrews Radio Show. We are sitting in the basement of a building on campgrounds. The name of the grounds that we are at is Cedar Springs Camp and Retreat Center. And sitting directly across from me in the basement of one of their buildings that they operate and manage. This is called the Fireside. Speak up into the microphone. Yes,
the fireside.
The fireside room. Okay, where I'm looking at a fireplace. Right. By the way, does that really burn wood?
Oh yes.
Okay, cool. And we're here talking to Mark and Teresa Jenkins. They are the directors of this camp, Cedar Springs Camp and Retreat Center. And welcome to our program. You are our first interviewees.
All right. Yay. Well, we just want to thank you for interviewing us. We're excited to share about the ministry that we have here at Cedar Springs Camp.
Not a problem. And that's what we want to get into. So just a minute ago when we were off air, I was talking to them about what is the message that they want to get out. And so I might as well just pose that to you right out of the chute as we start this conversation, because the whole point of having them on the B. Andrews Radio Show is to give them a little bit more exposure, to tell people about the campgrounds, the ministry, and that kind of stuff that's going on here. We have just spent a great week on these grounds. It was the family camp that was here, so everything was built in family style, but there's a lot more that can be done here than just family camp. So let's start with this one thing. It's your campgrounds and retreat center. What is the message you want people to know? What do you want them to hear?
We are here to create environments for people to experience God. I was just telling you, Eric, off air, it's so easy for us as directors here to get focused on financial reports and filling beds and repairing buildings, and that's not what we're about at all, really. And I have to remind myself of this. This is God's ministry, and we're building the kingdom. We like to say in the camping ministry, it's not about filling beds to pay the checks or to pay the bills. It's about filling beds in heaven. And that's really what we need to stay focused on. So we're here to create an environment, or create environments for people to experience God. And we do that by partnering with the local church. We certainly do some promotions ourselves, but it's the local church that we want to partner with. They bring their folks to Cedar Springs, and we minister to them so that they can minister to their people, and the Lord works through it all.
And we were here as B. Andrews for this family camp, just kind of give our listeners a little bit of a mental picture, if you would. We did the primary part of our ministry up in it's called the Worship Center, and awesome building for multi-purpose use and everything. The snack shack was on the back of it, but there was a multi-purpose kitchen. And then it opened up into the main auditorium. It had a nice concrete floor in it. What do you call that concrete when they put that? It's a smoother.
Right, it's sealed, right?
Yeah, sealed concrete floor that was there. So move chairs out of the way. We're able to do other activities in there because we did have some rainy days this week. So you got to plan for rainy days. And your facility covers for that. You got inside things to do. You got outside things to do. I thought that was really great. Now, I want to make this distinction so people get this picture because we have a few different denominations of people that listen to our radio show. I do know that you are connected with the Wesleyan Church through the Iowa-Minnesota district, but you do more than just that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Eric, what we do is we minister not only to the Wesleyan Church, but we have several different denominations in the area that use our facilities as well. We reach out to area churches in nearby communities, as well as we have a group coming this next week from Bellevue, Nebraska. So, we cover a wide range of areas, but not only churches. We minister to the schools. Our local schools are coming to do leadership retreats. In fact, we've got the entire faculty from Osage High School coming here in the next month just to do some leadership training and team building exercises with them.
So not just kids, that's faculty members.
That's faculty members as well.
So you got adults coming in.
We do. We also have a local football team. They have found it very valuable to come here and just build their team as their new freshmen come on board. And that allows them to get together and have just a quick overnight experience it. But we also minister to 4-H groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, American Heritage Girls is a big group that's coming in, Trail
Awesome.
Life Boys, both new groups that use our facilities as well as chambers of commerce and things like that.
Real quick question, just in case somebody out there is listening and they go, oh my goodness, I wanted to get in with a camp and I've got a group of 10. Is that too small to go to campgrounds that rents out to big groups?
No, we cater to all sizes. Our facilities are set up to handle about 170 kids or 170 people. That's our bed size. That's year round. We have one cabin that we don't winterize. Other than that, everything else is available for use in the wintertime as well as summertime. So we're a year-round facility.
Oh, my goodness. Now, they tell me back in Wisconsin, in case I didn't mention this, I'm sure I did at the beginning, that we are outside of a little town called Floyd, Iowa.
Correct.
Okay. They tell me in Wisconsin that when we get a heavy snowstorm, it's because of the southern winds blowing up out of Iowa. So you guys have to get a lot of snow here.
We do, generally. We have a really nice sledding hill. We have an ice skating rink. We play broom ball, do some sledding, horse around in the snow. We have a good time. So
okay, so think about wintertime. A winter retreat would be cool here.
Absolutely.
We're not professional broomball players like you are in Wisconsin. We've been to retreats in Wisconsin and we get our butts kicked.
Oh, it gets vicious. I've seen it, never played. I have seen it, and people get whacked pretty good. So yeah, a lot of people think of camp ministries, and we've done a couple of shows about, hey, what are you doing this summer? Camp really builds memories. There's something about getting out of your norm, getting with a group of people where you push out the rest of the things of the world and you come together and you just focus in on a few things, and one of those being God, and how life-changing and transforming that is. And not only that, but then the relationships that you make while you're at camp. I still have people that I consider to be friends. I met them at camp when I was a kid. I think that stuff's totally cool. Some of the other things, you have a river that runs right beside your campgrounds. What can you do with that?
We do have a river, and it's the Cedar River in Iowa, and it starts up in Minnesota and runs down to southern Iowa, but it is a clear river, so you can see the bottom. It's rocky. It's great fishing if you like smallmouth bass and walleye, but it's also great for tubing inner tubing, canoeing, kayaking. It's beautiful. We've got eagles on the ground, so you're always seeing an eagle flying overhead.
Saw that this afternoon. That was spectacular.
Yeah. So
Absolutely spectacular.
it's funny you mentioned earlier just, making memories and things. We have a T-shirt in our shop that says, I didn't realize I was making memories. We just thought we were having fun at Cedar Springs camps.
That's cool. That's cool. Tubing, kayaking, canoeing, you have that stuff here?
Yes.
So they don't have to bring it?
They don't have to bring it. They can rent it. We'll take you up. We also have a water slide in the summertime that we can do. We have an 18-hole miniature golf course on the grounds. We also have camping spots, full-service hookup. Serve about 80 campers.
Awesome. That is absolutely awesome. John and I did, coming back from Idaho one time, we did a camp for RVs. They got together, RVers got together and wanted to have a Christian camp between 3 or 4 churches. And so they went out to a campgrounds. And what was really funny is when we got there, and it wasn't funny, when we got there, they told us that we couldn't hook up our equipment because that would have been too loud. So we did a concert acoustically around a campfire that night. And this is the first time that I had ever been to a place where we had sang for that they fed us ribeye steaks afterwards.
Wow, awesome!
It was pretty awesome. So, so let's say that there's an RV group out there that would go, okay, hey, is there a place that we could go? You can accommodate for that kind of thing.
We can. We have our full hookups are limited. We have a limited number of them, but yeah, they can give us a call and we can see what our schedule allows for. And absolutely.
Yeah, that RV group only had 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you would have been able to accommodate that. Played a great game the other day. It was raining, and so we had to push away the chairs in the worship center, and we used that great floor, and it was this blue thing that came out.
9 square in the air.
And maybe some people have seen this on YouTube, but did you buy that or did you make that?
No, we purchased it.
Okay.
It's called 9 Square in the Air. It's kind of a cross between volleyball and Foursquare, and it has been a very popular game with kids and adults alike. It's a great game because it's multi-generational. Everybody can play it. You can raise it or lower it so that if you've got little kids, they can play as well, and then adults can play. So it's
that's what I was getting ready to say because I met Pastor Jeremy
Curtis.
He was here, and what is he, like 6'3"?
Yeah.
Okay, and so several of the guys were in there and playing, and all of a sudden the kids want to come in and play, and so they go, okay, let's drop it, and he's looking over the rails, which you would think would give him like an advantage. No, the kids still got him out.
Yeah.
That was a great thing. So it was a lot of fun. Well, we're, again, sitting here and they're in this fireside room. This is a room that can be used. One other thing I want to jump on really quick. If you ever come to these grounds, by the way, do so, have fun. And it's also a great place. Go down by the river. They have natural springs here. The other day I went down, just took off my shoes and stuck my feet in ice cold. Absolutely ice cold. That was great,
wonderful.
Which is the reason why I actually did it. I needed to kind of ice my feet a little bit. And that was really cool. But if you come here, if you try to find Mark, that's one of the hardest things to do because he is always running around like a chicken with his head cut off because there's always something to do. Am I about right on it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I wasn't just imagining things, but if you come to the kitchen, which is upstairs, that is one of the places where you will meet Teresa. And I want to tell you what, this is great camp food. I want to get that out there because a lot of times one of the biggest problems with camps or kids liking camp is I don't like the food. I want to tell you, love the food. And I take it that your menu is probably varies on the crowd that you're going to have.
We do vary it, but we always, even with our kids camps and our youth camps, we have one really nice meal.
Your salad bar was awesome, and it was great for adults, especially those of us that are trying to watch our diets. And I felt like you catered to me on that one. I really, really appreciated that. because it's a miserable camp. Oh boy, I'm going to sound so old on this one right here.
Yeah.
It's a miserable camp when the system ain't working because of the diet. Okay.
Right.
It's a miserable camp. But this has been a great camp. The salad was great. The food was great. A great balance in the nutrition, and the kids ate well. So, not a problem with that. Great camp food. And I want to tell you, and I want to brag on Miss Teresa just a little bit right here, came to the kitchen. And I was a worker at the camp, and I've been at other camps, and I have ran other camps where the workers come in and you go, oh, there are workers. I want to take care of them. And so she was incredibly gracious to me as a camp worker because we were here being the music and the singers and so forth. But what I appreciated the most from her is everybody that walked through that kitchen, you treated them exactly the same way. And I thank you for that. That really means a lot to me, because I don't want to be that person just getting special treatment just because of that. And your spirit is just absolutely beautiful, and the Spirit of Christ. And when Christ is in the kitchen, I have found out he is throughout the campgrounds. Amen. I appreciate that. 30 seconds to go. I'm being told by the engineer over there. One last word. You guys get it. What do you want? What do you want to say?
Camp, if you've never experienced it, it's all about the stories. It's all about the people connecting with God. Teresa and I have been involved in Cedar Springs for 22 years. We first came here a week after I gave my life to Christ, and I heard his voice that week speak to me. Tim Elmore was the speaker at family camp that year, and he challenged us who is going to serve the Lord. And I raised my hand, and I knew I was committed to full-time ministry at that point. That's just one story in thousands that you see at camp. Camp will change your life for the better. You need to go to camp.
I totally agree. That's a great way. I can't add anything to that. So, you know what? We've reached that point in the show where I need to get a refill. And so go out and top off your cup. You're listening to the B. Andrews Radio Show. Come on back.
Just have to praise him when things aren't right. When your cares and worries are crowding around, try lifting him up when life gets you down. Well, I know you've been there, I've been there too. So you might as well admit that it gets to you. So when this old world is taking its toll, remember God prepaid, you're free to go. So here we go.
And welcome back to the third segment of our B. Andrews Radio Show. It was really good to have Mark and Teresa come in and visit with us and to sit down and to have that conversation on. And I just would, before we move on, to the next part, because our ending segment that we've been trying to do is good news, and we do have some good news for you today, so we want to share that. But before we move over to that segment of our show, I just want to say thank you to them. Thank you for their hospitality, their graciousness. I tried to make sure that in the interview that you could hear that, but when the vehicle broke down there at the campgrounds, they were just, hey, it's no big deal. You guys need help. We have the ability to help you at least with housing and some food until you get out of here. So, here it is. And I was just, wow, they are just fantastic people. If you ever get a chance to go to those campgrounds, and there might be some reasons for you to, things may happen in the area. They do have RV parking and camper parking hookups and things like that. So if you call ahead to Cedar Springs Resort and Campgrounds, you can use those kinds of things. So they know what those costs, those prices are. They also, if you would like to take your youth group down there sometime, it's only 4 hours away from here. So you're able to do that kind of thing and take your youth group down. It's great to get away. They have a paintball course on the grounds. They have a 50-foot slip and slide. I think it's longer than 50 foot down a great hill. They have tubing and kayaking on the river. And when
not kayaking, canoeing
on the river. I thought they actually
the Cedar River. I looked it up.
The Cedar River. There we go. And I thought that they also had. I thought I saw some kayaks. But be that as it is, here's the good thing though. Like we had those torrential rainstorms, the river went up and they couldn't get on the river. Over not too far away from them in Rudd, Iowa, there's a lake over there that they use, and they have a school bus. So if you go there and you are hoping to do something in the water and the river is not usable, they can bus you over there and bus their equipment over there, and you can go canoeing on the lake and swimming on the lake. So that way that you still have the water stuff that you can do there. If you want to use their kitchen facility, they'll get you a price for that. And so if you want to take your group and have lunch and dinner, the youth group from Nebraska that came in with 136 kids did not do breakfast, but they did lunch and dinner, and then asked them to open up their snack shack. And so the kids could go get Pop-Tarts, coffee, that kind of stuff at the snack shack, and they did other things. So there's all kinds of things that you can do if you're into camp ministries. You can develop it yourself, use their facilities over there. That's what they are for, so that you can get some kids out into the woods. So
one of the awesome things that should totally be added to that, for those of you who knows anything about paintball, you know how expensive it is. And to kind of let you know about their heart at the camp is they don't charge for CO2. They don't charge for all they basically charge for is paintballs. And at that, I was able to play 4 rounds, three rounds of paintball, of speedball. I was able to play like 3 rounds of speedball for $10. And you cannot touch that anywhere. And the reason why they do that is simply they just, they're not making profits off of it. It's simply, money just to keep it going, so that people can enjoy that. And one more thing to be able to do at camp so that ministry can happen. So they've really got the heart for it too.
And the next time, do me a favor, when you take your sister out paintballing, would you please tell her to keep it on the course? I mean, seriously. She shot up the Suburban.
Yeah, that happened.
It was across the road.
Yeah, my mom almost got it. She had to take cover, too. She was like, "Rah, incoming!"
5 shots straight across the Suburban. And then the window was down, so the one went sailing through the window and hit inside the Suburban.
Yep. I was trying to tell Mom. I'm like, Mom, you need to roll up the suburban window. I don't need to roll up the suburban window. They won't be shooting this direction.
Is that
Mom,
what your mother? That's what your mother sounds like?
Just like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen, we're going to take a little break. This is our last break. We have good news for you when you come back. So refill your cup and come on back. You're listening to the B. Andrews Radio Show.
I bring you praise. I sing your name. And I bring you praise. Don't give the rocks a chance.
And welcome back to the final few minutes of the B. Andrews Radio Show. And this is the time that we do our segment, Good News. And so, John, no, can't do that one. Okay, John, so give me some good news.
You were going to say, here's Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, so let's see here. We got teens serve water to homeless in summer. So that's pretty cool. Knoxville, Tennessee, 89 degrees in the shade, and the water wagon rolled down Broadway to offer cold water to Knoxville's thirsty homeless. This is from USA Today. 6 young people, from 7th graders to rising college freshmen, manned the homemade Big Red Wagon and its giant aluminum pot filled with water. They were taking water to the streets as part of the Win Our World urban ministry. WOW, or W-O-W, is a youth summer ministry operated out of St. John's Lutheran Church. For 7 summer weeks, WOW, or WOW, hosts young people from Knoxville and from as far as Minnesota to work on community projects. This is its 14th year. Each week, sometimes daily, sometimes less, WOW young people load a huge pot, 2 ladles, and 3 sleeves of 16-ounce plastic cups into a red metal wagon. They fill the pot about 3/4 full of cold water and ice. No one's sure how many gallons the 18-inch tall pot can hold, but it looks big enough to feed a congregation.
So we want to say kudos to the ministry down there in Knoxville, Tennessee, the Win Our World, or WOW Ministry. I believe they're their own nonprofit organization now. And so you got different kids from all over the southeast region that goes to Knoxville, Tennessee in order to do ministry. The bucket of water, according to the article, is not the only thing that they do. There's other things, but they don't mention that. They just focused on the Big Red Bucket, I think is what they called it there.
Yeah, they mentioned the water wagon.
Water wagon. There you go.
But they mentioned just in passing some of the other things. So.
Okay. So kudos to them, which is a big reminder that we have the ability to do something in our world, to reach out and to try to make a difference. Let's think about what it is is that we can do for our fellow man or fellow ladies, as in some situations, what kind of a helping hand, what we can do in order to show kindness in this world and to show Jesus Christ. Now, that wraps up our show for today, and we hope to see you back here next Tuesday on the B. Andrews Radio Show. God bless you, everybody.